starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What's up, guys? What's up? Welcome back to Deck Talk Podcast Chat with Norman Lee and Colin Burnett. And I'm Colin Burnett, and that is my good buddy
And I am
Norman
Norman
Lee.
Lee.
Heck yeah, brother! You had an off day today, didn't you?
Yeah, man, I sure did. It seemed like I was working actually more today than I am when I'm on the water. Though I got a lot of errands done and had to run up to Sebring, do a couple things, a couple of
Yep.
people to see. So even though I'm off the water, it seems like it's a busy day.
Heck yeah, we got John Pate and Jamie Jones. What's up, brothers?
What's up,
Glad to
guys?
have y'all on. Yeah, you called me while I was out on the lake, and you was running around like a chicken with his head cut off today. So,
Yeah.
so um, what? You've had a pretty busy 3 weeks that you've been down there. You've only had a couple off days since you gotten down there. So
Yeah, yeah, it's been fun, a lot of fun. Yeah, man, it's been busy. On the water almost every day. Of course, I've only had a couple days where I wasn't on the water, where I actually could kick back and relax a little bit. But
yeah,
yeah, man, fishing's doing good down here right now.
yeah. We got old uh, old Bob's watching. I see that he's on there. We got Michael from Ben Olay Lure says, "What's up, guys?" So,
Hey,
what's up,
Michael.
Michael? So, also before we get started, Norman, let's talk about. I got my dog trying to get his 15 seconds of fame on here. Um, we're going to do a giveaway tonight, also. So, we're going to give like once a month. I get these monster bass boxes, and so I've been giving them away. So what we're going to do for the giveaway is we're going to the questions that is asked. Uh, Norman's going to pick the best question, and so the best question's going to get the Monster Bass box giveaway. So we got Killing Baits on. What's up, brother? So let me run through this real quick, Norman, and let's let's talk about what's in it. I did change one
Yep,
thing
sounds
out
good.
of it, Norman, because
What's that?
it had some tequila sunrise crawls, and I've been looking all over for them crawls, and I couldn't find them. So once I seen them in that box, I said, "Sorry, guys." So I did put.
Snatched a bait already out of it.
Oh, I did. I ain't gonna lie about it. So I did swap them with some like Cincos. It's a Pro Series X Zone Cincos. Um, these things float, and uh, let's see. No, these ain't the ones. They got super fine salt in them, so that helps them float. I thought these might have been the ones that changes colors also, but it's not. It has a little magazine that tells you uh, how to fish whatever and what to look for to where you want to throw it or use them. Um, let's see. It's a KVD Optum Super Fry. It looks like it's in a. The color says magic. I've never heard of this as a color, which I don't use too much of the strike kit and stuff. So besides the crankbaits, um, they got the caffeine shad, which is in the pearl. Let's see, it's an 8 pack, and I want to say it's a 4 inch uh, little, little, daggone it. My dog keeps on hitting the table with my camera on it. So, let's see what else. They got a little thunder cricket. So what is it? A half ounce. Uh, it's Strike King's version of a vibrating jig. So, and it's in the black and blue. Let's see what else is in here. Um, you've got the Monster Bass has like a finesse jig. It is in a green pumpkin with black specks on it. So, and it's a 3/8. Let's see. This time of the year, you can't go wrong right now throwing this, a little square bill. Let's see if I can get the. And let's see. Also, the Sexy Shad lipless crankbait. Let's see, and it's in a half ounce also. I've got probably about 25 of these in my box right now. So, um, just to say, I did catch some fish on this today, Norman. Let's see. What else? You got a sticker. You've got a $40 gift card towards the purchase of lunker sticks. Then it also this golden ticket. Sorry about my dog, guys. Uh, I've been out fishing. He's been in the crate all day. So this golden ticket here, what it is, Monster Bass does a weekly live. I think it's on a Wednesday, Norman. Um, but you take that golden ticket, they will draw periodically during their live for to do giveaways, and they give out away a bunch of stuff. So, uh, and that golden ticket has numbers on it to where that's how you find out if you won or not. So that's all that is in our giveaway tonight. That's pretty decent. Uh, it's a Strike King takeover, pretty much what it is. So
Yeah, it looks like
that's
some
not too
pretty cool
bad.
baits in there. Some baits that'll actually
Yeah.
catch them.
Oh yeah. And so, uh, other than that, that's what we're going to be giving away. Hopefully, if I can keep my dog from wanting to play instead of, uh, but let's talk about what Jamie Jones says he loves the thunder crickets. So he said he likes them the best. So my favorite vibrating jig will have to be from Saudi Customs. I That is my favorite. I don't know. They just seem to start right up as soon as you start cranking them. So um, let's talk about Norman. About your trips down there that you've had this past week, if you want to.
Yeah, man. Well, on the first, I had a trip on Lake Estepoga. And right now in Lake Estepoga, what you got going on is the water level is really high for this time of the year. Typically, during hurricane season, the lakes draw down.
Yeah.
But we're down here, they're just coming off a hurricane season a month or so ago. And, or a few months ago. But the lake is extremely high for what it usually is this time of the year. So what I'm finding is most of the fish actually are pushed back. The thing when the water level's so high like this is it makes them harder to locate, makes them harder to target because they could be anywhere. They could be on the outside edge, they could be in between, they could be all the way pushed back in.
Right.
Because the water allows them to actually get in places where typically when the water level's down, there's no water. So it makes it a little bit harder to locate. So what I'm finding is most of the bigger fish is actually pushed way back in. And because of the water temperature being so extremely high right now, because of I'd hate to be down here this summer in Florida because as hot as it is right now in mid-February, early March, I guarantee it's going to be an extremely, extremely hot summer down here.
So you're
But the
saying we're
water
gonna have
temperature
fun in
right
July?
now, yeah, I mean, the water temperature right now in Lake Estepoga is like in the 80s. When I come off the water, it's like 85. And
Right.
typically this time of the year in mid-February, early March, it's still in the mid 60s. So what the fish are doing is they're actually, where I'm finding most of the bigger fish is in the bonnets. And what the bonnets are they're in the lily pad family, but they're not per se a lily pad. Bonnets are they're lily pad looking plants that actually stick up. Typically, they're going to stick up above the surface of the water 1 to 1.5 foot. The very thick stems, very thick cover to fish. Usually, when you fish them, your fish catch ratio percentage will go down because they're so thick. You know, getting them out of them. Once you get them hooked, you know you have to try to get them to the boat. And in most cases, when you get them hooked and they get pinned, hold pressure and go in after them with your trolling motor. Don't try to force them out because you end up ripping the hooks out of them. But that's kind of what I'm finding in Estepoga right now, and one of the things one of the reasons that makes that a good cover during the summertime, and now what we got going on here with the extremely high water temperatures, the extreme heat they're having right now is like. I've never seen it in Florida this time of the year, and with that high heat, you're getting hot sun. We're having July type of weather down here right now with that sun burning down. So they also act as an umbrella. So below the spatter dock or the bonnets, you're going to have about 1 to 1.5 degree cooler water temperature than other places on the lake, even in other type of reeds or cover. Because of the umbrella factor, they eliminate the direct sunlight from penetrating to hit those
Right.
surface of the water. And of course, bass don't like direct sunlight. So that's kind of what I'm finding out right now is most of the fish are pushed back in because of the extreme high water temperatures, but they're under the bonnets. And
Right.
it's been really good. I've had 3 trips on Estepoga so far, and all 3 trips we packed them and sacked them. And most of my fish we're catching is 3 pounds or up. Most of them's between 3 and 4. We in 3 trips I think we've only caught a few that was under 3 pounds. So the quality is there, and we're catching numbers as well. Throwing the super swimmers, the bruiser bait super swimmers. Now, if you got wind, that super swimmer, that swim bait bite lasts all day. If you don't get the wind, then it starts to fizzle out about 11:30, 12. Then you pick up the. I've been throwing a fatso stick by Bass Addiction Gear and pitching it and flipping it same cover in the bonnets or spatter dock once that swim bait bite starts to slow down. But that bite's been really well. And I got one more trip out there Wednesday. My last trip down here is actually back on Estepoga, so we'll be doing that again in the bonnets, and it's just crazy right now in there. But you have to find the right ones. When I was out scouting, I fished a lot of different bonnets once I kind of dialed the pattern in, and you're
Yeah.
not finding in different sections of lake, and Lake Estepoga has a lot of bonnets. You don't find them everywhere. You're just finding them in certain sections of the bonnets. So, anyway, that was Estepoga. It's been really, really on right now for me.
Yeah.
Went down to Headwaters. Um, I actually had a client about a week and a half ago call. He wanted to go down to Headwaters, and I told him I've only been down to Headwaters twice in the past, but he wanted to go anyway. So we went down. We had a ball down there. We
Yeah.
had a field day, throwing lipless crankbaits. I
Heck yeah.
went back down to Waters. Another client asked me. He wanted to go back down. He seen the post we posted from that first trip, so I wanted to go back down. So we went back down, and two tales of 2 different days. We went back down. We had It was blowing steady, 25 to 30, gusting over
Yeah.
30, and we ended up throwing top water all day, and I was taking some drifts over hydrilla flats. Basically, I found a couple hydrilla flats that was stacked, and these fish, guys, they were coming up through 2 footers. We were making long casts the direction of our drift. These fish were coming up through the 2 footers and crushing this topwater walking bait. I mean, it was crazy. Our drift, I think, was 2 miles an hour. is how
Wow.
fast we were drifting in 30 miles an hour wind, and they were actually annihilating the top water, throwing in that rough water. So, and top water, that's a fun bite when you get on them with top water. But it made it even funner in that wind we were throwing them in. So.
Yeah. What about because your first trip to Headwaters, you was ripping a crankbait, wasn't you?
Yeah, I was. Um, I don't. When you get hydrilla, submerged hydrilla with isolated, topped out areas of hydrilla, there's no other better way to catch reaction fish than ripping a lipless crankbait. And what I mean by ripping a crankbait or lipless crankbait, and a lot of people doesn't use that technique because they see hydrilla, they see how thick the hydrilla is, and they don't believe that they could get a crankbait, a lipless or any other crankbait with treble hooks to actually go through it. Let me tell you,
Right.
if you rip it, the lipless crankbait, once you feel it load up on that hydrilla, you want to rip it as hard as you can. What's going to happen is that crankbait, that lipless crankbait will blow. It'll explode out of the hydrilla. When it explodes out that hydrilla, that actually creates that reaction bite. As soon as you explode it out of there, and you don't stop reeling, you just explode with your rod tip, it'll create that reaction bite, and then fish will just load on it if there's a fish in that clump of hydrilla when it goes through. But
Right.
yeah, we caught him ripping the lipless crankbait, and that was a fun bite too. But we didn't have that much wind that day. It was a real beautiful day.
Yeah. Well, we got Jamie Jones has a question for you, Norman.
Yes, sir, Jimmy.
He says, so guiding on different lakes and different states, how do you go about where to start? Do you go to spots you already know, start puzzling it together, or just start scanning with your electronics and go from there?
Uh, Jerry, good question. And you know, it depends on what lake I'm on. Now, coming from this area, and of course, I guided down here for 15 years before I moved to Tennessee a few years ago. That helps because I do know the areas really well. I know these lakes really well. But as far as going to areas that I know that I fished in the past, I want to actually forget all that. The worst thing as a fisherman you could do is fish by memory. A lot of people get too wrapped up in fishing by memory, and then especially when I haven't been on any of these lakes, and I think the last time I fished down here was 2 years ago, or actually last July when we were down.
Yeah.
When me and Colin was down here for ICAST, but about a year ago. So I haven't been on these lakes too in recent times, other than last year. So yeah, I don't want to fish by memory, but I basically just start covering water. And when I went out on Estepoga, it didn't really. It took me about 2 hours before I really started kind of dialing in what the fish were doing, where they were going. And the other thing too is when you're practicing or trying to scout for fish, um, it's too easy to get wrapped up in catching fish where they are, knowing I'm actually just out scouting. So you know it doesn't matter if I catch them or put fish in the boat that day. I need to know where they're gonna be in 2 or 3 days when I'm back out here. So typically I'll try to pattern and kind of use my head where these fish are gonna be in 2 or 3 days, what they're doing, uh, per the conditions we have, where they're going. I never like to pattern where they are right then when I'm actually fishing them, but think where they're going to be in a couple of days, and weather has a lot to do with that. But as suppose it didn't take me too long to figure it out. Finally, once I figured it out and found out what they're doing, where they're in, then I just started trying to use that same pattern in other areas of the lake. So now I'm trying to duplicate that same thing all over the lake, and basically I do that just by running the edges and using my eyes and just scan the edges. If I see something that looks very, very similar to the way I'm finding them, I'll stop and fish it. And it's all about covering water. I don't like to waste a lot of time. Once I catch one, I only set the hook on one fish in every area. So I'm not going to catch them when I'm out scouting, but I'm only setting the hook on the first, so I actually know what's there. You have to set the hook on one or two, so you know what's there. You know what's biting. Once I catch one or
Right.
two,
Right.
then I'll put the rod down and just start covering that area, trying to expand on it. And I want to see how far in the fish go, how far out the fish go, how widespread this particular area is going to be productive in. And the deep water lakes, yeah. Basically, I do the first day I'm usually scouting on a deep water lake. Uh, at least the first half of the day, I don't even pick up a rod and reel. I just use my electronics and I look for balls of bait. And I usually do a lot of marking when I'm out there looking for the balls of bait. Mark a lot of GPS waypoints once I find different balls of bait. Now, once I find balls of bait, I try to start really going over the area and finding out why this ball of bait's in this particular area. What's down on the bottom that's holding this ball of bait there, whether it be a shell bed, whether it be a brush pile that's nearby. Um, just because you find a ball of bait doesn't mean they're right over top of something that's down there that's holding them there, but there's always going to be something close to where this ball of bait is that's holding that ball of bait there. And anytime you find a ball of bait, you're going to find bass near it. Somewhere around the
Yeah.
area, there's going to be fish. So
Right.
that's kind of how I scout and how and use the same type of a technique when you're pre-fishing for a tournament too. Whether
Yeah.
whether I'm trying to find fish for guide trips or whether I'm out, practicing for an upcoming tournament.
Right. Now, have you been able to do much with? Because I know you love throwing a Carolina rig down there. So have you been able to throw a Carolina rig much down there?
You know, the answer to that is no. When I got down here, I spent the first 4 hours on Lake Placid, and I really didn't like what I seen. I'm sure if I spent more time out there, I could figure something out. I couldn't get them to buy it. I went to four. I found 4 or 5 different locations that actually had a lot of fish marking on it. I couldn't get them to eat. Couldn't get them to chew. I probably threw up teen number of different things at them. Anything from Carolina rig. Once they went and hit the Carolina rig, I went to the drop shot. Tried to downsize a little bit. I even went as far as throwing some reaction stuff down there, like a vibrating jig, kind of vertically, popping it off a couple brush piles. And a lot of times that works to get that reaction bite. You could actually vertically rip a vibrating jig and just let it fall. And you don't even have to reel
Yeah.
it back up to the boat. You're vertically or straight over top of it, just ripping it back and forth and in the tree pile or the brush pile. But I couldn't get them to chew on nothing. So uh,
Yeah.
late June, I done the same thing. I just couldn't figure out that. I mean, with the short time I had, and there's a lot of area to cover offshore. So the short
Yeah.
time I really had to scout, I ended up. I had 2 or 3 clients that they wanted to go to June. They didn't care. They just wanted to go to June.
Right.
So we ended up going up in the canals on June, and canals are good this time of the year because a lot of the fish push in the canals this time of the year to spawn. So
Yeah.
we ended up doing really well. I had 3 trips on June so far, and we ended up doing really well in the canals. We're
Yeah.
catching numbers.
I was about to say
A
you've
couple
caught
of
a bunch of numbers.
70 a day, yeah, 75 to 100 fish a day. And the problem is, well, it's not really a problem. It's always fun to catch fish when you're catching that many. But there's so many small fish up there, and when I say small fish, 1 to a pound and a half fish. So they're going to be so much more aggressive than the larger fish. There's a lot of big fish up in these canals, but you'd have
Yeah.
to go through 20 pound and a halfers, and that 21st hook set is going to be a 4.5, 5 pounder. So you just got to
Right.
go. You got to go through the small ones to get that 1 or 2 big ones.
Right. Well, while we kind of going to take a little break and let you get a breather. Again, we're doing a giveaway of the Monster Bass Box. It is a Strike King takeover. Here later on, I'll go through again what is in the box. But again, to win the giveaway, you have to ask a question, and Norman is going to pick the best question that is asked. So again, just ask us questions. We will get on. We will get to it, and Norman will pick it here at the end of the podcast. Um, we actually got Bruce Anderson is on here. What's up, brother?
What's up,
Uh,
Bruce?
and we got Charlie Myers is on here also. Bruce, though, is the guy. He made our tumblers for us. We got two different tumblers. Mine's got the same logo on both sides. Norman's got the logo on the front and on the back. It's got deck talk going up and down the bottom of it. So Bruce, thanks for making these for us, brother. Um, and Bruce asked, "How are we doing?" We're doing good. Doing good. Trying to get through another. I got another work day coming up tomorrow. I'm trying to get through it so I can get back out on the lake. So, uh, what about Norman? What So you got what? You said you got two more trips coming up. You got one tomorrow and Wednesday.
Yep, yep. Have one tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be back on Lake June, and uh, the guy I have with me tomorrow, he actually booked this trip. Actually, I was on the water at Headwaters a couple of days ago with the trip at Headwaters, and he called me when I was on the water. He's a local retired gentleman. He lives on Lake June, and he's been trying to figure out how to fish offshore. He basically just wants to learn how to use his electronics to find. He wants to know what he's looking at when he's looking at electronics. So we're gonna go out and help him. Be able to figure out how to use his electronics in a manner where he could go out and locate stuff on his own. And after we do that, we're probably gonna go back up in the canals and
Start
give the
ripping some
canals one
whips.
more once over before I head back to Tennessee. So those canals are
Yeah.
fun to.
Oh yeah, we fished them last July.
Yeah.
So Jamie Jones has another question for you.
All right,
He
Jamie, go ahead.
says I normally throw my lipless cranks on 10 to 12 pound tests. He says I have broken off the baits on the rip. So when he's ripping through the hydrilla and stuff like that, he's broken off. When you're doing that, do you throw a heavier test line when you're doing that?
When you're ripping lipless crankbaits through hydrilla, you want to use braided line. There's no other line to use. Any other lines, even fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon has low stretch, but you're still gonna get that stretch factor. Not like mono, but with your braid, you have no. The whole thing about ripping, especially when you're ripping it through thicker hydrilla pods, is you absolutely don't want to have any stretch in your line, because when you pop that rod, and you want to pop it hard. Um, Anybody familiar with spoon jigging on ledges? It's real popular up in Kentucky, and when you're ledge fishing, you take these big spoons and you throw them on the ledges, let them hit the bottom, and you rip them as hard as you can off the bottom and let them flutter down. Or flutter spoons. The same technique when you're ripping a lipless crankbait, but you don't want any give in your line. It has to be a solid rip when you rip it out. Plus the rod makes a big thing too. You don't want to use a crankbait rod like you normally when you're using a treble bait, crankbait, lipless crankbait, whatever. You don't want to use too soft of a tip. You want that. I typically use a medium heavy rod, a medium heavy baitcaster rod, and I'll use a moderate fast tip. What that means is I'm still going to have enough. I'm still going to have a little tip, but that tip's going to be strong enough where it's not going to have a lot of give action. When you go to rip it out of the hydrilla, you don't want that tip to bow over on you. You want a solid tip to be able to rip it out. You want complete contact of complete contact to that lipless crankbait when you pull back on it and rip it out. You don't want nothing to give, whether it be the rod tip or your line. Of course, down here in Florida, when I'm ripping lipless crankbaits, I use 65 pound test braid is what I
You
use.
just answered his next question. What pound test or what pound braid? So
65
65
pound
pound.
test. I'll tell you the reason, and typically, unless I am throwing braid on like a spinner bait or a bladed jig, something that when the fish eat it, you're steadily reeling. The fish is going to load up on your rod as you set the hook. Here's the thing with braided line. All braided line will break on a hook set, okay? But 65-pound test braid will not break on a hook set. If you use 50-pound braid, you use 40, 30, no matter what size braid you use, under 65. If you go to set up on a fish, but you snap back on that fish when that line's not completely taut, you will snap braided
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
You should not should not snap it if it's 65 or larger. So keep that in mind. You can break braid if you snap back on a hook set. And down here in Florida, we fish a lot of big fish.
Right.
So any cast could be a 10-pounder on the other side of it. And so it's all about, keep that in mind. If you snap back on a hook set with braid, if you're using anything but 65, or a larger too, but anything below 65, you can break it if you snap back on it. If you're
Yeah.
flipping, any type of a bait presentation where when you go to set up, you might not have a complete tight line on that fish. Sometimes when you're flipping, the fish hits you so quick, the fish isn't going to be loading up by the time you set up on it. Now, spinnerbait, bladed jig, crankbait, anything you throw like that, you're going to be steady reeling. Typically, when the fish eats it, it's going to load up as you're pulling back. When you're fishing worms, if you're fishing braid, keep that in mind. If that line's not taut on that fish, you go to set up. If you snap it back when the line's not tight when you come back on her, you can break that line.
Yeah. And I like using my frog rod if I'm ripping through grass like that. I'll
Yeah,
use
yeah. Frog rod makes a great rod because when you're throwing a frog, you want a little bit stouter tip anyway when you're throwing a frog because
yeah,
you need to get a good hook set on a frog. You don't want a tip that's going to be more flexible.
right, right. Um, while if we can get y'all to go to the Deck Talk podcast YouTube channel and like and subscribe, we're trying to grow this channel. Eventually, we're going to just have this going live on the podcast because we're wanting to draw everybody to that YouTube channel. So let's let's talk about Norman what we've got coming up this Sunday. If you
Yeah, man. We have some pretty cool coming up. Jack's bait and tackle. And I don't know if Kim's watching. Shout out to Kim. Jack's bait and tackle owner. Jack's bait and tackle. Jack's from Ron Colin. Her grandfather, right?
her
Is Kim's
dad
grandfather?
has, yeah, her dad. I think it was her dad that started it 56 years ago.
56 years ago.
Yep.
So they are
So
having their 56th anniversary, kind of a customer appreciation deal there this Sunday. And
yes,
they're going to have a fish fry. And me and Colin is going to be there in the parking lot with our Deck Talk studio. We are going to be doing a live podcast from
yep.
Jack's some point
A-
during the day.
And we're going to try to get. I know Jamie Jones is going to be frying the fish. So, but we're going to try to get him on because Jamie Jones is a heck of a fisherman, and so uh, I enjoy talking to Jamie, and he's very informal about, and so hopefully we can talk to him, talk about what he's doing on Chickamauga. I know he's got some tournaments here uh, coming up. I know that he said I seen something on Facebook. He's got I think it's a Monday night uh, Harrison Bay tournaments that is coming up here next month. So, uh, but we'll try to get him on. We'll have a Bassmasters Elite fisherman Jack Daniels Williams. We're gonna get him on here. Uh, I'm hoping. that we're going to be able to get Buddy Gross is going to be there. So if he's there, we're going to have him on here also.
We'll
So
have Buddy Gross on,
um,
definitely.
let's see. My sister is on, and my brother-in-law is on, and uh, and my little nephew Norman says, "Hey." So
Hey, what's up?
uh, Jamie says it's calling for rain, but we're still going to have it. She has rented a tent for people to sit under. We will have several tents set up as well. Several raffles to be held. Oh yeah, well, about the raffles, I know one thing that is going uh, to be raffled off is Jack's just got some new tumblers, and Norman, you've seen them tumblers. Them things are some bad tumblers.
I
We
see him.
uh,
There's some
our
badass timbers.
Yeah, Bruce
Pretty hard
Anderson.
work on.
He owns Deep South Vinyl. He's the one that made our tumblers and made uh, the tumblers for Jack's. So make sure you put in for that raffle. Uh, and if you don't get it, just tell Kim, and she can order some more for you. And so everybody's going to be able to get a tumbler one way or another through the raffle or through buying them through Kim. So, uh, but let's talk, Norman. Um we'll talk about. I know you've been down there, and I've been up here. So let's talk. I'll talk a little bit about what I've seen on Chick here this the past week, and so um what I had noticed, Norman. I went out. Uh, when was it? Wednesday and Friday. The water temp was around 60, 62 degrees that I found. And when I found that water was that water temp, I was able to put some fish in the boat. My dad and I went out. Uh, we used we used our jigs that we making. Also, uh, about 75% of the fish though that I caught was on a uh, a jerk bait. So I was fishing. Um, I was fishing in between 7 to 8 feet is where I was finding them. Uh, I, I take that back. I was fishing I was fishing in about 12 foot. I was targeting fish in 7 to 8 feet. So if that kind of makes it a little clear. We got Scott Walker on. What are you doing, brother? Glad to see you. Um, Jonathan said sorry for late to the party. Some of us have to work more than 3 days a week as of right now. So hopefully he's going to get that job at McKee, so he
But
can
then,
he can do like what I can do. But Norman, well, I tell you that within from Wednesday to Friday, that water temp stayed right around 60 degrees. Wednesday was we seen 62, 63, but we had a big storm come roll through, and it dropped a bunch of water. And I tell you, went out today. Uh, and when we went out today, my dad and I went, and it was tough. I tell you, because the water temp was 54, 55 degrees. Uh, when we first got out there, and it was outside temp was about 46, 47, and it was chocolate milk. So
yeah. I
we
was gonna say
started out.
how muddy was the water after all that
Oh,
rainfall?
oh man, it was horrible. And so um, went we put in at Grasshopper, went up uh, upstream just a little bit, fished some flats, and caught a couple fish, but I was like, I got to find some better water, and ended up going into Sail Creek. And once we did that, we were able to find clearer water. And so anybody that fishes Chickamauga, and if you go into Sail Creek, if you go to the back of Sail Creek, that's probably the cleanest water that's going to come through Chickamauga is coming out of Sail Creek. So we went from having visibility of about 6 feet to probably visibility to about 3.5, 4 foot. So, uh, so that kind of helped out a little bit. Caught them on our jigs here. This back up into Sail Creek. Then we we pulled out because I was wanting to find some warmer water. Uh, Done that, fished the main river channel, and the water clarity probably went back to about that time was probably about a foot, foot and a half, and was throwing a like a shaky head Texas rig, and I tried throwing a lipless crankbait. I only had one on the lipless crankbait, but everything that was caught on a very slow presentation. Uh, they and what we've noticed that we had the small ones were right up on the bank. We backed off the bank probably about 15, 20 yards, and we're starting to catch bigger and better fish. So um, we got Patty is on here. Patty helps out with Jack's Bait and Tackle, helps keep them stocked up. So thank you, Patty, for that. Uh, so, but here next week, by the time we're going to have to go out next week, Norman, we'll probably have to do it Monday. So,
Yeah, yeah, we'll hit Chickamauga next week for sure.
yeah, yeah, because we're going to have the rest of the week's going to be 70, 80 degrees, so that and the overnight is not supposed to get too terribly cold, so that water temp's going to stay more stable. Them fish are going to pull up, and we'll go hit some of the bedding points and stuff for spawn, and hopefully have some good pictures uh, to be able to post on here later on, or for next Monday. But other than that, that's kind of what I noticed was one with the chocolate milk, the how the Chickamauga was today made it tough. We also had a full moon too, so they fed all night, so that made the bite slow. And I think uh, what does I want your opinion, Norman. What does the full moon does it affect it as much down in Florida as it does here? If there's a full moon,
Yeah, yeah, it's the same anywhere. When you get a full moon, the fish could see the fish feed. The fish
right,
feed at night time when they can see it good.
right,
Uh, but yeah, it does affect them. Now during spawn, it affects them too because you'll have a little bit more as long as the weather or the weather and the temperature, water temperature, everything lines up with the full moon. You'll have a prime spawn during the full moon as well, as long as all the stars line up and the water temperature, the weather, the whole 9 yards. You don't have any barometer drops. You'll have a
yeah,
better spawn during a full moon as well. But with that being said, yeah, they do feed all night. So
right,
typically the first few hours during the morning, it makes it a little bit tough, and then the bite gets better after the day wears on because of that.
right. We also got Kim, uh, and Kim is the owner. Her and her husband Chuck are the owners of Jack's Bait and Tackle. So
So
Kim,
Kim,
thank
how
you
you
for
doing,
getting
guys?
on here. Uh,
Look forward to
again,
seeing you guys Sunday too. By the way.
heck yeah, we're going to be there and we're going to be going live again. But make sure we want everybody to show up at the fish fry. Uh, they're going to have a golf cart to be able to go and pick up people from wherever you're parked to be able to make sure they're wanting everybody to show up. So we want to uh, we want to be able to see as many people there uh, as possible.
Yeah.
Kim just said that they are going to do it rain or shine, Norman. So it doesn't matter what is going on. They are
Yep.
going to do the fish fry. So
Yeah.
we,
Come down to Jack's Bait and Tackle. Show your support. Cam and her crew does an awesome job there. With Jack's Bait and Tackle, and
yeah,
she is such a personable person. She's always there to help. She's always there to, and everyone there has such great knowledge of fishing in general.
yeah.
So you have any
So,
questions, you always could go to Jack's Bait and Tackle. Someone there will always have the answer for you. But come down, man. Hang out with us. Show your support. Kim and them guys down there, they just do an incredible job, and
yeah,
as well as support your local bait and tackle shops too.
yeah,
That's where it's at, is the local bait and tackle shops. So come down
yeah,
and hang out with us and show Jax your support and just have a good time there, and eat
yeah.
some fish.
And another thing about Jack's, um, if you're wanting, they do or Kim does a live a couple times a week talking about the baits that she's getting just got in. She makes sure that everybody knows what's coming in. So she wants you to be able to know, all right, this bait's in. I've got this, and she keeps up with the bass fishermen. She keeps up with the cat fishermen. She definitely keeps up with the crappie fishermen, and
And I
the crappie fishermen, Norman. You know, that's the ones that kind of they helped out to donate the crappies. They also done a tournament though for the crappie to be able to do this fish fry. So,
Yep.
but I want to also say if you want to order something from Jack's Bait and Tackle, just go to Facebook, look up Jack's Bait and Tackle, message Kim, and she will get it ordered for you. So
Yeah.
but other than that, that's real cool how there you don't have to go to the store to be able to get the baits from them.
Yeah. And
I
another
was
thing
talking.
too, and well, I was gonna another thing too, and Kim mentioned this on her last live, and there's no other bait and tackle shop that will go this far
Nah,
to make sure their customers is taken care of. And she had
yeah,
mentioned that if you ever need anything, she's not there. She might be already closed for the day. If you call her and she will come down, make sure you are taken care of.
yeah,
So Jack's Bait and Tackle is there for the anglers, uh, to help the customers and the fishermen there in the Chattanooga area or uh, anywhere else for that matter. She's there, and they're all there to make sure you guys are taken care of. And I
right,
don't think there's a bait and tackle shop that would actually go that far, but Kim just she does over and beyond what
yeah.
her normal Call of Duty should be there at Jack's Bait and Tackle. So,
Well,
and
I'll tell
and
you,
for that, I'll say on behalf of all the other anglers, thank you, Kim,
yeah,
for everything you do for the local fishermen
it's
and everyone else as well.
yeah, and I mean because how many other people do you know uh, that will go over 3.5 hours away to pick up a truckload of skipjack just so your catfishermen, local catfishermen, will have skipjack, and they've got like a 4.5, 5 foot deep freezer full of nothing but skipjack. So, uh, and which I know Chuck just made that drive not too long ago. I think it was about a week ago. So, um,
And over and
Kim
beyond
Kim
to
said
just take
thank
care
you.
of our people.
You're welcome, Kim. You're very welcome.
Yes.
So, um, let's see. Yeah, my dad's on here. He says the 56th anniversary for Jax. Yep, it is, and it makes you proud to be around, to be part of a fishing community that has a tackle shop that's been around that long, because not too many tackle shops, Norman, can really withstand uh, being around a Bass Pro and stuff like that, or Cabela's, just because of the price points. And uh, Jack's Bait and Tackle is probably the closest bait shop that is to Bass Pro, and they've been doing it for 56 years. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, hey Norman, I'm gonna put the camera on you, and let's show what me and you've been working on. All right, uh, with
Yeah.
our new jigs.
Hopefully we can get through this without the camera breaking.
Yeah, I mean, well, I've had it just on you when you talking mainly. Uh, we so I've been doing it secretly so you wouldn't know, trying to keep your camera from not breaking. So,
I just got this
so
new camera a couple of days ago, and luckily it
oh,
hasn't
and
broke yet.
yeah, and it is a whole lot better. We do have a little bit of glare, but that ain't it's nothing that we really can't
I got a
work
window
with. So
right behind me.
yeah, that's the reason. So, but you can definitely see yourself a whole lot better. That is a whole lot better camera. So you let's uh let's show, because I want to, because uh my dad and I have been, well, Norman and myself and my dad have been using these jigs that we've been making. We've It took us a little bit to kind of figure out the hooks and stuff that we like, uh, but we are uh, we are tying jigs now, and we're thoroughly enjoying it. So, Norm, if you want to show them, let's see. It's kind of what
Yeah.
what color is that, Norman?
You would have to ask me. The light's gone. This is actually watermelon or green pumpkin. Actually, it's
Yeah,
green pumpkin with orange. It's an orange and green pumpkin skirt. Where, as a matter of fact, coming up on Chickamauga, this color should start really catching fire
yeah,
with the
that's gonna
oranges you're gonna be
yeah.
throwing during the
Yeah, because
springtime.
that bite has already started too, so that's going to be
Then
good.
we got this one here. This is actually in the skirt. We got red, a little bit of green, black, uh, but yeah, the micro jigs and the smallmouth just crushed these things on nickajack.
Yeah,
And
that is for sure.
now the way we're making them too is, as you can see, these here, with the way we have the skirts laid in, we're also, I don't have any in front of me here that I could show, but we're also making them where actually the skirts fold over. They're not bushed up in the front like that, so we're actually making them
Yeah,
both ways.
it looks more like an umbrella also, and
Yeah.
so we've got some football
Now what?
head jigs and stuff that I'm tying also right now. So
Yeah. Now what we're finding out about when we're tying them like this, where it's almost like an umbrella that comes over top of the head, what we're finding out with that, with testing the prototypes we're making, is that when you're fishing a lot of rocks like we do for smallmouth on like Lake Nickajack and other lakes, as you don't do much fishing like that in the state of
Yeah,
Florida. But once you get out, you do a lot of rocks, riprap, whatever you have, rocks or wherever you're throwing these jigs in a little bit deeper water over that hard cover.
yeah,
But the way that skirt's designed, it actually almost helps bounce when you're bouncing it over boulder type rocks. It almost helps bounce the hook over. So we're finding that we're not getting hung up in the rocks quite as much with
yeah,
the skirt tied like this, with it almost like sort of kind of like an
yeah,
umbrella that goes over the head, versus the skirt that lays back from where it goes over the head. It kind of folds back with the hook. When we're tying them like this, we're cutting the skirt off short over the head, so it almost
yeah.
creates that umbrella effect, and we're finding that it actually helps pull it over the rocks a little bit better without hanging on the rocks and getting the hooks in them.
Yeah, because like if you was to go and look up like micro jigs or finesse jigs, they don't have that skirt is not quite as tall as what the head of it is. So, with that being said, we tied them like that. Then we also made that skirt a little bit longer, and then that's doing like what Norman was saying was that uh, it's helping it get over them rocks. You're still getting the ticking noise from the head hitting the rocks, but it's helping keep it from getting hung up as much. That's what we found. So, all right, brother, you got some more?
Two more. I didn't bring a lot down here with me because I knew I wasn't going to be fishing them down here.
Right.
But we got two more right here, right? Got two more right here. That's green pumpkin with red. Of course, red and
Yep.
orange. That's going to be. And you say, Colin, that
Yeah,
bite's
that's
already starting to happen.
yeah. We've been
Crawfish start running.
so yeah. That's and they're all hand tied that we're doing too. So
But that's it.
yep. So other than that, Norman,
Uh,
let's roll on. We're almost at an hour, brother. So
you're right.
um,
You need to get
the
some sleep.
next thing that I want to talk about, we met these ladies at ICAST last year, and we uh, we thoroughly enjoyed talking to them. It's called Two Chicks and a Boat. We got Beth and Lori have it's who we met down at ICAST, and we just kept in contact with them. They are doing a team tournament trail, and their first stop is going to be uh, Chickamauga, and so uh, I want to say I just had a brain fart, Norman. I want to say it is April. It's the weekend of the April 1st.
Yeah, I don't
Is
have it in front of me, Colin.
and so, uh, but with what we're wanting to do, they're wanting to get more women to fish this tournament, and it's only a women's tournament. You can fish it just a solo or you can have a team. It doesn't matter. And if you're interested, if you're a woman and interested in fishing this team tournament trail, go to www.twochicksandaboat.com and you can get all the information. I think they have 7 tournaments that are lined up, and again, Chickamauga is going to be their first stop at the beginning of April. So uh, we want to help them out. We've not. I know that we've got actually. Uh, I'm going to bring them over to Jack's when they come in and have them meet Kim and stuff. So, but we definitely want to try to raise awareness to this tournament trail to where we can get them to have as many people as possible. on this in this tournament series. So uh, we do we do want to help them out as much as possible. So uh, we'll do this, Norman, real quick. If anybody has any last questions for us, uh, to you can ask it now. And again, the best question Norman's going to pick. The best question is going to get the Monster Bass Box giveaway.
A lot of
So
cool baits in
uh,
that box.
yeah, it is a Strike King takeover minus I think one bait that I did take one package out, Norman. So
If you
so
catch
it was
anything on the baits, you take out of there, though. I think that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
everybody wants to
I
know.
mean, but
Inquiry minds taken out.
I did put baits in there that I know that are going to catch fish still. So, um, but again, if you have any questions, we're going to be wrapping this up here pretty soon, and Norman's going to be picking the best question. So, if you have any questions and want to enter into the giveaway, just leave a comment and we will answer your question. But again, we'll be picking here pretty soon. We'll be picking the giveaway winner. So, what, Norman? Do you want to talk about our the next time that we're going live? Besides the time that we're going next Sunday at Jack's.
Yeah, we gotta. We're working on a couple pretty cool deals with our regular. I guess you could call it a regular Deck Talk podcast. Um, we're working on a couple different things right now for next Monday. And we'll have that finalized. Actually, I'm going to try to get that finalized on Thursday on my way back to Tennessee.
Yeah.
But
So
after that, we actually have a couple pretty cool episodes coming up. We're going to have one of our guests. We'll go ahead and announce it. Well, it's no secret. We've already announced it in a couple of different shows, but Shaw Grisby,
yeah,
a legendary bass angler, a Bass Hall of Famer. He is going to be a guest on one of the podcasts next month, probably in a couple weeks anyway.
yeah,
We're going to do another regular podcast after this coming Monday. So we have a couple of pretty cool deals, things coming up. We're working on one for Monday now. Nothing's finalized yet, but we're still working on that. We
yeah,
got Shaw Grisby. He'll be on as a guest on the very next one. And we got some heavy hitters coming up from the likes of the Elite Series. We got some heavy hitters from the likes of the Bass Pro Tour. So we got some really bang up guests that's going to be coming on. This the first season of the Deck Talk. So
yeah.
ought to be a pretty cool conversation, some pretty fun conversation.
Yeah. So if so, you don't want to miss it, and if we can get everything lined up uh, Thursday to where we can get it all to work out, it is going to be a killer
Yeah.
podcast. You don't want to miss it. It is. I don't know what else to say, Norman. Besides that, it's everybody knows who this is or who it is. So um, once we tell who it is, that everybody's going to know and recognize it. So uh, probably about 80% of the people have it on their boat right now.
Yep.
So, but other than that, we got Aaron Vincent's on. He's catching the last end of the podcast. So what's up, Aaron?
What's
And so
going
we
on,
got
Aaron? How you doing, brother?
uh, so with that being said, we'll let's draw again. Hold on, before we do that, we do want everybody to go to the Deck Talk Podcast YouTube channel and So if you go to YouTube, search Deck Talk Podcast, it's going to pull us up. You're going to see that logo. And when you see that logo, click on it, subscribe to it, and help us out and help us grow that channel to where we keep on doing this. So while we do that, Norman, let's let's go on. And Aaron said he just got home. So, uh, Aaron, do you have a question since you just got on? Do you happen to have a question for myself or Norman? And
Jamie
if we'll
Jones
give
is
you,
like, no.
yeah, we're trying to
Jamie
we're
Jones is about to win this thing in a landslide. He's about to get 100% of the vote.
yeah, you're I think he's the only one that really we've
He's
had a
gonna win
lot
this
of
thing in a landslide.
yeah, we've had a lot of viewers today, but it's just not not a lot of questions. So we uh uh I'll give him a second to see if he wants to ask a question. If not, but hey, Aaron, when Norman's going to be coming back here Thursday, and he said not today. Uh, he's coming back Thursday, and so we uh, we need to get you in the boat, and we'll go hit the city lake. So, all
Yep.
right, brother. He said he didn't have a question. Let's. I'm going to put it all back on you, and tell us what question you thought. We know who got it, so you just tell us what question you thought was the best question.
What's the best line I use for ripping lipless crankbaits in the hydrilla? Awesome question, Jamie Jones. And you know, the right line is everything. Of course, the right line and right rod is everything when you're ripping lipless crankbaits through hydrilla. So, great question, Jamie. What line do I use when I'm ripping? And again, stay away from the mono, stay away from the fluorocarbon when you're ripping it. You need to use braid just because of that no stretch factor. You want 100% pressure on the crankbait when you pull back. You want to be
Yeah,
able to blow it and explode it out of that hydrilla. If you have too much stretch in that line or you have too flexible of a tip, you don't get the
yeah,
explosion that you need to have out of it.
yeah. And we also got Dylan from Talking Tackle.
What's up,
Just
Dylan?
came on, and let's throw them a uh, a plug out also. So another great tackle shop in the Chattanooga area. Uh, they take care of everybody. They have some cabins that you can rent. So if you come into the Chattanooga area and needing a place to stay, look up Talking Tackle. They have a place. They have a couple. I think they have 3 or 4 rooms. Um, but holler at them and see if they have an opening. And also, if you're talking about Dylan, you cannot forget Tanner or Greg. They also have a uh, a guide service called Wishing I Was Fishing. And so, if you are in the again coming to or in the Chattanooga area, and especially wanting to uh, to be able to uh, wanting to be able to have that chance of catching that Chickamauga bass that everybody uh, is dreaming about and hears about. Look them up. Wishing I was fishing, and one of these days, Dylan, we're going to have you and Tanner on. Have y'all on the podcast, and Dylan says the biggins are eating the trap. I didn't eat no trap for me today. They were wanting everything slow, and so, but uh, Zach just came on.
You weren't fishing where Dylan was fishing though.
No, I definitely was not. I was too far north for fishing where Dylan was fishing. He uh, he stays south for primarily the most of his trips. He stays south, and I just need to just put my tow rope onto his boat and just let him just tow me wherever so I can catch some fish.
Yeah,
So,
right.
but if you go to their Facebook page, and you'll be able to see talking tackle and wishing I was fishing. You will be able to see what we're talking about of big fish that are being caught. Uh, they're premier guides. So
Yeah, and they're a
we
great bunch of
thoroughly.
guys as well. They're a great bunch of guys also. You know.
He's Dylan says, "Nah, just keep that trap in your hands and never put it down." That was the problem, Dylan. I had my dad. I was throwing it. My dad was catching fish, throwing like a Texas rig and a shaky head, and I was getting showed up. He said from now till middle of April, no other baits needed. Thanks. So no, Dylan, we appreciate you, and especially giving some little hints and tips for Chickamauga. And so, but again, Jamie Jones, you are the winner of the Monster Bass box giveaway. We will be giving this away again uh, next month, and I'm we're probably going to have a giveaway, Norman, Sunday when we're at Jack's Bait and Tackle, because I'm thinking Kim said that
Yes, we are.
she's going to get something set up for us to where we can do a giveaway. So,
Cool, Kim. Thank
uh,
you.
and Jamie, I'm going to. You can either call me or I can just leave the box there at Kim's, and but or you call me and we can meet up. So, but again, Norman, let's get off of here, and let's see. Hold on, I don't want to. My dad's saying he's got to go. It's his bedtime. It's his bedtime, Norman. Uh,
Yeah. Thanks, Steve.
so
Go get some shut eye.
all right, Jamie. If I don't hear nothing from you in the next couple of days, I'll run it by Jack's, or I might just bring it Sunday. So whatever one that will work better for you. So, Norman, let's wrap this thing up. We've been on here almost.
1 hour and 15 minutes.
That's it. Yep. So, uh, but other than that, guys, we definitely appreciate y'all coming on. And remember to go to our YouTube channel, Deck Talk Podcast, and like and subscribe to it. Again, we're trying to grow that channel.
Come
Eventually,
down to Jack's Bait and Tackle.
do what?
Come down to Jack's Bait and Tackle Sunday.
Yeah. Well, yeah, don't forget the Fish Fry Sunday, March 12th, which is this coming Sunday. Rain or shine, they're going to have tents up to where if it's raining, everybody's going to be able to stay dry and enjoy their time. So we'll, and again, like and subscribe our YouTube channel. And because eventually this is going to be live just on our YouTube channel once we kind of get it going a little better. So, but again, we thank y'all for coming on here, and we will catch y'all here Sunday and then Monday, and the fish fry is going to start at 12:30 to 5. So Norman and I will probably get there around 12, maybe a little before. We're going to set everything up, and we will go live uh, sometime after it kind of gets rolling a little bit. So, But other than that, Norman, I hope you have a good trip tomorrow out, and hopefully be able to rip some lips. Make sure you drink a bunch of water, and I tell you, you suck because up here it's not that hot yet. So, so,
I wish I was where you
but
are. I'm born and raised in this Florida heat, and I can't. I guess I'm officially considered a snowbird because I come down to Florida and I can't handle this heat anymore.
yeah. And Jamie Jones says the fish fry is open to the public. So anybody that is around, or if you want to come to the fish fry, just come on down and meet everybody and chit chat, enjoy, eat a bunch of crappie. So, Norm, let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
Hope
Yep.
everybody have a
Hope
blessed
see
day.
everybody there soon.
Yep. Hope everybody does well, and we will see you out on the water. And just remember, live the passion.
Tight lines.